Welcome to Music Theory Basics. Today we will be furthering our knowledge of intervals and exploring what augmented and diminished intervals are. But firstly, let's remind ourselves of the two categories of interval. On the left-hand side, you can see the intervals that would be major or minor. These are seconds, thirds, sixths, and sevenths. And on the right-hand side, you can see the intervals that would be perfect. These are fourths, fifths, and octaves. So what interval do we have here? At the bottom we have a G natural, and at the top we have a C natural. So let's write out the beginning of the G major scale and see which number note C is in that scale. As you can see, C is the fourth note of G major, making this interval the interval of a fourth. Now, because it's a fourth, it has to be a perfect fourth. But what happens if I raise this top note by one semitone and make that C natural a C sharp? What interval do we have now? We now have what we call an augmented fourth. An augmented interval is one semitone larger than a perfect interval. Let's go back to that perfect fourth, G natural and C natural. And what happens if I lower the C natural by a semitone to a C flat? This now becomes what we call a diminished fourth. A diminished interval is one semitone smaller than a perfect interval. Take a look at the diagram here. In the middle, you can see perfect. If we raise this by one semitone, we get to the augmented interval, and if we lower it by one semitone, we get to the diminished interval. But how does this apply to our major and minor intervals? What interval do we have here? We have a C natural and an E natural. E natural is a third above C, and E natural is in C major. So this interval is a major third. But if we raise the E by a semitone and turn it into E sharp, we now have an augmented third. If we lower that E natural to an E flat, this now becomes a minor third. And if we flatten this E again and make it an E double flat, we now have a diminished third. But wait, when we play an E double flat, it's the same as D. So why can't we call this a major second? We cannot call C to E double flat a major second because C to E is a third. We always focus on the letter no matter what accidentals we have. So let's take a look at the below diagram. On the right-hand side, you can see what we saw earlier. In the middle, we have our perfect interval. If we raise this by a semitone, our interval becomes augmented. And if we lower it by a semitone, our interval becomes diminished. And on the left-hand side, if we start with major, if we raise the interval by a semitone, it becomes augmented. But if we lower it by a semitone, it becomes minor. And then we have to lower it by another semitone for it to become diminished. So let's do some examples. Here we have an F natural and a B natural. What is the distance between these two notes? Let's write out the F major scale to see. As you can see, F to B is 4 notes. But as you can see in F major, we have a B flat. Had our interval above had a B flat in, this would have been a perfect fourth. However, we have a B natural, which is 1 semitone larger than B flat, making the above interval an augmented fourth. What about this interval? We have an E natural and a C natural. What's the distance between these two notes? Let's write out the E major scale to find out. As you can see, C sharp is the 6th note of E major. Had the interval above been a C sharp, this would have been a major 6th. However, we have a C natural. C natural is 1 semitone smaller than C sharp, making the interval above a minor 6th. What about this interval? What's the distance between A natural and G flat? Let's write out the A major scale to find out. As you can see, G sharp is the 7th note of A major. So had the interval above had a G sharp, this would have been a major 7th. However, we have a G flat. 1 semitone smaller than G sharp brings us to G natural. Well, this is a minor 7th. So it looks like we need to bring this down 1 more semitone. Let's bring that G natural down to G flat, and this takes us to a diminished 7th, meaning the interval above is a diminished 7th. This time, let's see if we can draw a diminished fourth. As you can see on the stave above, we have an F natural. What is a fourth above F? Let's write out the F major scale to find out. A fourth above F takes us to B flat. However, because B flat is in F major scale, that would be a perfect fourth. But our question is asking us to draw a diminished fourth. So what do we need to do? That's correct. We need to bring our B flat down by 1 semitone. What is 1 semitone lower than B flat? That's right, it's a B double flat. So there you have it. We have a diminished fourth. F to B double flat. Don't forget to download our handy cheat sheet for this video, which explains all the aspects that we have talked about. I can't wait to see you at the next Music Theory Basics video. Have a lovely week.